think Fate's still feeling very confident about this. What they need to do is need to buy more and more time. The more time they buy, the better it is. You don't have to worry about any last-second clutches here from DRKJS. So it looks like
Cinch has switched out to that sniper again. Sneaky plays coming out from Cinch.
Yeah.
His positioning is kind of funny.
He's going for some jump snipes here. Oh, he might be able to get a snipe up. No, they dropped down from the pipes. So just kind of like a slow push here as they're waiting for the rest of the team to respawn.
We've got 2 minutes there to get that bomb planted, like literally 2 minutes before it needs to be on the ground. We're looking at about another minute a hold here if they don't do an amazing break. As soon as they get the forward spawn on, it's going to be a little bit easier.
Yeah,
that
we see Fate already coming back.
To back off.
Yeah, exactly. Fate, they want to play this as safe as they possibly can. They don't want to get wiped at the wrong time. They want to win. They want to get the first round in their pocket. So they're just taking it slow and steady. So DRKJS once again gonna just kind of cut up on the stairs here. I'm gonna go and look from Cinchi's POV, see if we can get a nice headshot in there to kind of motivate a push for his team.
He's getting a lot of picks, but he's not getting any headshots. He's like body shotting everybody. He does finally get taken out. The revive is going to come out. I think that this is where they really need to push now. They're running out of time. We've got a minute left before that C4 needs to be down.
Someone's going to catch a long spawn if this goes badly.
Was the long spawns that came out? It looks like there may have been.
Sebastian.
Hard up also though. Codes is going to get caught out of position. This is basically going to give DRKJS the control room, providing that Cynics is not able to hold this off. Cynics does get taken down. There's no time to really focus on the control room now. They just need to get that bomb planted. We're talking about
this flank by
seconds.
this flank by spooked by Mike cost them. I think he's going to actually give him the plant unless he can kill him. He sees him on sight. There we go. Fortunately.
The airstrike's going to come out in a decent time. We're talking about 30 seconds, guys, before that C4 needs to be planted for them to actually be able to do this. It's looking very unlikely at this point right now. We are seeing Cinchi as an engineer who is really the only person that's got the opportunity to get a quick sneaky plant down. Is in a decent position right now.
This is going to
turn around the corner. He manages to take out Streak Fight, gets eaten up from behind.
There comes Cynics with the gib, yeah. So I think at this point they've got.
There we go.
Yeah, they especially don't have time considering that the engineer caught the long spawn and that was his opportunity. Didn't happen, so it looks like Fate is going to take the first map.
Yep, completely. It's a good match from both teams. It actually got closer than I expected near the end. It looked like F8 just had a really good hold on the defense on the first objective, so I was like, oh, maybe like DRKJS is just going to be held here, but they did manage to push through and they've actually started to make some good progress. There was a lot of flanks that came out. They managed to really secure the whole objective point. Unfortunately, never managed to actually get the plant down, but a close match. Both teams should be proud of the play, and I'm excited to see what happens in the next map.
Yeah, definitely. I think that DRKJS is making good ground on this last objective, just unfortunately got held up on the first objective for a little too long compared to Fate.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going into the next round here, and with this particular rule set for the stage 2, where there's going to be no repeat maps, so it's going to be a new map every time. So hopefully DRKJS is able to win out the next map, and actually this was DRKJS map choice after all. So the next map choice is going to be Fate's map choice. I'm expecting we're going to maybe see Terminal. I feel like Fate's probably pretty confident on Terminal, especially after a game with Tag.
Yeah, so, they're holding Terminal really well, like really well.
Yeah, I feel like they are probably most confident with their strategy on Terminal out of all the maps that I've seen them play. I'm sure if they use a similar strategy on Bridge, maybe, but actually, based on the qualifier, I don't think they even ran a Rhino on Bridge. I'd expect if they played it again, they might choose to run that, especially since Codes was so effective on Terminal with that Rhino. And it's kind of the same effect, yeah. When you're playing against a team that doesn't know how to counter that, that Rhino placement on these certain positions of certain objectives on certain maps, you can buy you a ton of time. By the time the team actually gets lucky and maybe gets the kill, eventually. Wait, what is happening?
They want to switch maps. They want to switch server between each match. Unfortunately,
got you. So we're gonna go ahead.
Not unfortunately, just it's going to take us a little bit more time to switch maps, obviously. But I think it's the most fair thing to do when you're doing EU versus NA anyway. So I don't know how we're going to work it out for the final map, but hopefully, well, I say hopefully, but if that is an issue, we'll have to deal with it when we get to it.
Right. So, I mean, I think it's fair. Obviously, we'll give them the slight advantage now for DRKJS ping-wise, and then we'll try and play out the last one, on the fairest server that we can. Ping does have an effect. However, a lot of the the mistakes that are made aren't necessarily things that you can blame
Yeah.
on ping. Usually, if the match goes one way or another, it's usually pretty obvious why, and it usually comes down to teamwork and things of that nature. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch us back to the intermission screen until we figure out what server we're gonna be moving into.
Brilliant. For some reason, I don't know why, but that match felt like it lasted for ages.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually a very short match. It was just
Yeah.
what?
I think that's what
16
happens.
minutes?
I don't want to badmouth any teams or anything, but like when an attack gets sloppy and underground, it just feels like it's a brick wall that they're fighting against, and I think it really extends the feeling of time. Like when you said during that match, like they've already burnt 2 minutes, I was like, only 2? Like in my head, I was like, it must have been 5.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can feel like a much longer amount of time than it actually is, especially in the second half. I always feel like just when there's like
Yeah.
there's more pressure and whatnot. Um, so are you in the server yet?
I'm
Not quite
joining on
sure.
Cynics now. We'll
Okay,
see how it goes.
I'll just follow off of you. Yeah, and everyone's upset about the getting cases from spectating. But it's just like it's the payment from splash damage for us for volunteering our time to cover these matches. So I'll be happy to accept that free
I have
case.
to I have to be honest. I find casting so much harder than playing. I know it sounds like and it seems like all you're doing is just sat there and you're just talking or anything like that, but it's warm in here, and like I've been talking now non-stop for like 4 hours. It's not as easy as it seems, and for doing all this for 2 cases, like I think that's the least splash damage can do. Let me keep my spectator cases, please.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you there. Yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing like if you get into like streaming while you're playing, it can kind of be the equivalent because you're almost trying to cast while you play, and I mean I'm struggling enough trying to control the camera, cast, and control all the OBS stuff at the same time. So it's definitely a little bit overwhelming for the first time, but working
I
on
think you're
improving
doing an
that.
amazing job from what I've seen so far, Inferno, mate.
Cool.
I do still think that in future, if we can actually get the spectator being able to actually not be the person controlling OBS, that'd be so much better. If the person controlling it could spectate from a spectator's point of view, it'd be better as well. Because then when I start making a call, they can just press 2 and it'll go over to that player, to that caster, and they'll be able to see what I'm seeing. I think it'll just be much easier for everybody else involved.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That said, as I called it, Fate picks Terminal as their map, and Drakages chooses defense. So, it looks like Drakages is going to attempt to put up a stronghold here, which I think is probably in their favor, because I think they're going to need to put up a really stronghold rather than facing off against Fate's defense first. I think that's going to be in their favor, considering that, if you're going up against a defense that's throwing you for a loop right off the bat, like if Drakages chose attackers, they might be demotivated to play as well if, in the following round. So that's why I think they're going to benefit from picking defense first. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to see Drakages take this so we can go into a third map. However, if that's not the case, there's plenty of more good matches ahead moving into the semifinals after this match. So we will know shortly.
A quick shout out to the admins. I say shout out. Yeah, shout out anyway. Yeah, these guys are amazing. But if you guys could make sure that the next match does not play until we've actually decided who we can cast, because if this does go to a third map, we don't want the match that only took 2 matches to go straight into the next. So
yeah, actually, speaking of the next match we're going to cast, we will be casting Group A versus Group B in the semifinals. So if anything, just try and postpone that if possible.
Only for a couple of seconds, obviously. It shouldn't take us too long. Who will be playing the next match?
That is a great question. I'm actually not sure. It's going to depend on how these teams are doing. I'll go ahead and refresh the brackets to see what the scores are, if the scores have been updated for the other teams. So far, it looks like the other teams are still in progress. So essentially, we want to move after this to whoever wins Group A versus Group B, which is going to be either Business or Proud moving from
Cool.
Group B, or PDG or Racing moving from Group A, and then of course the grand final.
where we will most likely, according to the chat at least, see 6-6.
Yes, the predictions are that 6-6 will be taking the grand final. At least they will be there. So hopefully, whoever makes it through will put up a good fight against 6-6. Maybe they give them a run for their money. So I think what we're all hoping for.
I love 6-6, but I want them to lose. I'm serious.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to see the underdog pull the upset. I think that's always the best. Like when we saw ZFZ beat out PKD and 6-6 in the second Dirty Cup, that was just a great time. Obviously they're NA, but it was just because of the fact that, you know, they weren't really expected to make it that far. Just considering it was always 6-6 PKD top 2 constantly. Well, I guess that's not entirely true. Originally, I think that 6-6 took a while to transition to the phase where they were constantly getting second place and having really close games with PKD.
There's a little bit of swappage between them and ZFZ, especially when ZFZ was on point. So 6-6 have finally made their way up to that tier, and yeah, I'm excited to see them play. I haven't actually seen them play a competitive match in a while now, so
yeah. Well, we'll see. I know that 6-6 they scrim tag a lot. I've seen that, and I think they scrim some other teams as well. But you know, they're all active players. They definitely have still been playing, and you know, their play style is you know, it's less reliant on really fleshed out tactics. They're just all very good individual players, and they know what works for them, and they've just been continually refining that as well. So looks like we're gonna get started here. Load into the server. Map is Terminal.
F8 on attack.
F8
on defense.
Yes. This is F8's map pick, which is Terminal, and DRKJS has chosen to take defense first. So
let's see how long they can hold out for, especially on the first objective, which seems to be the major time sink recently for a lot of the teams playing Terminal. We did see some really good attacks from F8 on Terminal. Actually, we saw them wipe quite consistently, and obviously we saw Codes with that really strong Rhino in the balcony, which was absolutely dominating the people that he played against. So I want to see that again. I want to see if they can actually make that work consistently, because there was talk a long time ago when this game first started getting played competitively, when all the mercs were back in the game a while ago, and people were like saying, yeah, we could try a Rhino, but no one ever got around to doing it. Like they tried it didn't work, so they like left it. And to see it picked up again, and Code's making it work in that first game, I'm excited to see it again. Anyway, we are seeing the map start. We have got, again, F8 on the attack. We are going to be seeing Spooky5 play as the engineer, and we're going to see Crook this time on the nader again. And the defense setup is fairly standard. We are going to be seeing Sinchi play the sniper, and we're going to be seeing a Skyhammer instead of a nader or anything else like that. So the teams are getting into positions. I'm actually going to follow from the defenders off the back, because I want to see how they actually decide to set up. We've got a combo going up in towards the balcony area, and we're going to see a 5-man balcony push from the attackers.
So I'm going to go and look at Banon here. He's got a nade flying out, doesn't connect. Takes a little bit of damage from the Fate nade there, but both teams kind of at a stalemate here. See what Fate is choosing to rotate around to the window here. They're kind of poking and prodding at this defense, looking for an opening, pushing out now. Oh, big TK there from Crook's gonna probably hold him up here. It's 3 Fate members now are out full, and Spooky5 getting a couple headshots in the back of his teammate's head there. So clean wipe for DRKJS on Fate.
Really good first defense. That was pretty impressive. I did see Crook accidentally decide to detonate his teammate.
Sinchi actually getting really aggressive here, looking for like one of those Counter-Strike style picks.
He does back off. It's slightly too early. He got a little bit scared, it seemed. If he waited for a fraction of a second longer, he may have actually been able to get the pick on the engineer that was running up that way. Unfortunately, he does fall back. He has thrown out the heartbeat center. He's wondering where they all are now. It does turn out he was in the right position the first time. The nades are flying down from Crook. He sees somebody in the window. Smoke is out to actually block the push on the balcony. I'm going to follow from Crook for a second to see how they decide to spam these nades out then, but
both snipers connected with a body shot. At least I saw Spooky5 hit a neck shot or something like that. So yeah, just a little bit of a sniper duel here between Sinchi and Spooky5. We'll see who comes out on top. Ooh, unfortunately Sinchi looked like he had the upper hand there. Spooky5 was unaware of his position, but it doesn't matter. Sinchi's just gonna switch over and start shooting the next Fate member in his sights.
Sinchi's playing this really well, right? He knows that like a sniper duel is only really like helping his team avoid a sniper, right? But he knows like that sniper doesn't want to really focus on anybody else but him right now. That's why they switched out to sniper in the first place. So as long as he just keeps Spooky Fi's attention long enough, he's still got plenty of time.
Oh, what a beautiful shot by Cinchi.
Shot on Cynics.
And just utilizing that wall jumping to pop his head up there and poke him right in the face. And another one on Spooky Fi. Oh, Cinchi is on fire right now. You get another one. He gets a body shot, but Codes takes him out. But still, wow. Cinchi was just a phenomenal
takes him out long
performance on that
spawn.
sniper.
That's F8, which are all on point right now almost. It's a 4 versus 2. I mean 4 versus 3.
Banana with a big nade there, but Codes is going to get instantly revived. No, he chooses to respawn. I'm assuming did they grab the forward spawn? No, they did not grab the forward spawn. So
I don't believe they did, but Spooky Fi has got the C4 down finally. He's probably going to set up in this yellow area. He has backed off and left his turret. His turret will go down in no time whatsoever. The rest of the DRKJS team seem to be more focused on trying to make sure that they've cleaned up the balcony area before going for the defuse. Spooky Fi rotating around. He's going to meet Sinful Sebastian, and he does get taken out, unfortunately. The
now
C4 is still planted.
Well, Crook is in a great position to cover the plant, but looks like
he needs to make sure his timing's on point, because if not, he's actually...
Cry is actually going to push him.
I think he's missing them nades.
Yeah, I can actually see where they're going, but Cry actually takes him out. That said, they've bought a lot of time, and it's just Spooky Fi here. They got a Cure Laser by Cynics on the objective.
This is going to blow.
So yeah, Fate just completely securing it.
Well played to Fate. That was a great push. It looked fairly sloppy from a spectator's point of view, but it also felt at the same time very dominating, as sloppy as it did look. So they've actually managed to go onto the second objective, and we're going to see if they can actually hold this wall area for any time. It looks like they're actually just going to back off instead and actually play it safe.
Now I couldn't tell because I forgot to check, but I think that there possibly might have been a mistake on Cinchi's end where he didn't switch to Bushwhacker early on, and I think he might have lost one spawn where he was still Vasily, because they had an opportunity where they were all alive and Fate was all down, and I didn't see any progress, so I'm assuming that he just made a mistake and didn't switch to Bushwhacker, which pretty much cost them any chance of getting that defuse.
I mean, the hold wasn't a bad hold whatsoever. They managed to pick up, what, like 4 minutes? So it's still looking fairly good for the DRKJS, providing that they can actually prevent a really quick rotation, like push on these objectives. We are going to see Cynics, who is up there with his hill station, does get taken down. He's still got a Spooky Fi in the area, also gets taken down. All F8 are down for another 5 seconds. It's going to give DRKJS the time that they need to rotate and actually pick up the positions that they want to be stayed in, just reinforce that defense, and it's going to be basically a full reset on this second objective.
Cinchi is pushed way up here. Okay, he's just holding like a tight corner here. He's going to wait for Fate to slowly come in, but actually Fate choosing to build the gas tunnel here, and they're actually going to be running Spooky Fi and Cynics up through the gas tunnel. Looks like they're waiting for...
Oh, Cinchi knows this. I think he's going to try and rotate around. He's placed down his turret. He doesn't decide to go for the back flank. I think that would have been the right play at this point, but it did take a little bit too long anyway, and he is going to be going up against Spooky Fi and Cynics, it seems.
Looks like Spooky Fi's going to get the plant, but yeah, he's going to be able to take out Spooky Fi before he reacts. And oh, the Spooky Fi turret kills him out. Now, what they need to do is they need to some nades over here and get the gib on him before the medic comes. Doesn't matter.
Fate have got the balcony.
Now, Banan going for a little bit of a chip on the diffuser, but he actually timed out his respawn. I think he respawned before Crook actually finished the kill there, so they just want to get as much progress on that diffuse as they possibly could. And now they're going to go for the retake.
I think it's a shame that none of the F8 members decided to try and plant on the second objective. There was plenty of time. They knew that there was 5 seconds left on it.
Well, it doesn't matter at this point because Cinchi actually, I don't know what it is with engineers trying to lead the way. Cinchi tried to lead that push, got instantly killed and gibbed out, so, you know, now they got to... Well, I guess either way it wouldn't have mattered.
Out on his own right now.
Fate is just not allowing them to gain any ground and get out of their spawn.
Cinchi's going to get totally eaten alive right now. Gets taken down. He's got one more spawn, maybe 2 if he's lucky to actually take out... I can't remember what bomb number this is. A letter. So take out the A point. But it's
nice
looking really good
there for Codes. I was waiting for Hard Up to get the nade, but Codes had already just headshot their entire team before the nade could even come out. So here we go. We might
all
see
the players run it.
This is their opportunity. We see Hard Up on top of the MG. He's gonna get a nice nade in there.
He's coming out.
There it is.
Still a little bit too much. And this is a F8 certainly just blown the A container and set a reasonably good time of around 7.5 minutes. So it's well, middle of the road. You can't get more middle of the road than that. So it's looking like a really good attack, to be honest. And a really good defense on the first objective that kind of fell apart in just a couple of waves. So I don't know. I think F8, if they can actually continue with the momentum that they just built up on that second objective into the first objective now, I think F8 may actually have a slight advantage going into this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was what we saw previously as well, where Fate, you know, once they get that initial objective down, they have this really solid momentum into the next objective. And if you look at the kills and the kills and deaths and everything, it was fairly equal for amongst both teams. But you got to consider that defenders usually will end with you know, the more kills and, you know, better KDs and whatnot. But I mean, Fate's just, you know, relentless attacks and whatnot actually worked out in their favor, to the point where a lot of kills weren't even actually happening. It was just an exchange of damage between Fate trying to spawn camp Drakages on the last objective there, and even though they weren't getting kills, they were just delaying them as the timers ticked down on those bombs.
Look, we're seeing codes on the Rhino again. We are going to see the strategy that we saw in the previous games, and the Ura Hill Station, the turret, and a Rhino all on this balcony area is going to make it very hard to push. That said, this time we have got Cinchi on Sniper, which they never had in the previous games, and he may be able to get that pick that he needs onto that Rhino, but it's well, looking good. He's waiting for it.
It's always a nice headshot on there on Fragger, but it's the thing where a headshot from Vasily won't actually insta-gib the Rhino, won't even kill him even, so...
No,
you know,
he needs to take damage early.
That said, they're getting some nice pushing room here on the right side in the yellow.
Codes goes down from a flank, and they've taken the balcony almost.
Oh my gosh, I just switched to Cinchi as he gets a disgusting headshot. Gonna go in for a big flank here, takes out Cynics and Spookify with the help of Sinful Sebastian.
And the C4's down. What an amazing push by Drakages. That sniper made all the difference, just taking out a couple of crucial players at crucial times, and then just a really ballsy kind of, let's just jump off the balcony and go up behind them.
Almost looked like it was going to be a headshot. Just jumped up over the box there and almost got the medic behind the car. Now he's going to be going up. Gets the insta-gib on the proxy. That's got to hurt.
That said, they are running a double engineer here, so Spookify is still up, and he is trying to get it, but he's almost picking up his teammate. He's getting it down finally now, but he's going to back off.
Well, there was a Drakages player inside of yellow. He barely gets it. Thankfully, Hardup was able to push up and push that Drakages player back. Drakages are going for the forward spawn now, but at least they were able to slightly... Well, that said, Codes is still up on the balcony there with the minigun. But it's almost the kind of thing where now, like, it looks like they're going to get a plant. Yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing where even though Codes is up there with a minigun, he's essentially just doing nothing at the moment. He needs to hop on the MG and try and do something. Good airstrike by Yes. Picks off 3. Oh, about to be 4.
Codes is just literally spamming tiny bits of damage on all the players, and I don't think it's really doing much, but it's frustrating the hell out of them. You can see them not knowing where to push out and where to move to, and this Fragger is just eating up so much damage from the attacking team that it's just like the best distraction you could ever ask for. The C4 is planted. Spookify is holding yellow again. I think he got the defuse. No, he's not. He's going for a couple of kills before he goes for that defuse. We've still got a couple of the Drakages members.
Oh, that said, he's about to catch a long spawn if he dies here. That's going to guarantee it for Drakages that they're going to blow this objective. So, wow. Really solid follow-up there by Drakages. I mean, Cinchi made the first one happen, definitely. I switched over to his POV as he got a series of headshots taking out that proxy. But second time around, I mean, they got that plant down. They were able to hold it pretty well. And, of course, Spookify catching the long spawn there pretty much guarantees we're moving on. Now, the only thing here is whether or not Drakages is going to be able to have the same momentum that Fate did. Already we see Fate setting up to hold this choke point, so they're going to buy themselves at least another minute here if all goes well.
That's it. It doesn't look like it's all going to go all that well. That's it. No, actually, I take it all back. Raining death from above. The players are going down really fast.
Oh my
the
goodness.
Nades are flying out.
I just saw like up to 3 nades. I don't even know why I saw 3 nades. Must have been like 2 nades from the... Well, actually, what was that?
It was 2 nades from the nader and then a nader from the...
Exactly, yeah. I was looking at the wrong team for half a second, but yeah, I was just... Whoever that was, I was just spectating. Instantly dead. Oh, we see Spookify going for a sneaky flank here. Doesn't work out, but still, all they're doing is buying time. And I think what we've been seeing so far from Fate is they're really on point with understanding...
They've made the call, they're backing off.
Yeah, when understanding when to be aggressive and when to fall back, and they're just on point. Like we saw it on Underground as well against DRKJS, where, you know, they held as long as they could, but they're not taking any risks.
Crook was so close to getting punished. He has managed to get up onto the top of the escalator. He does get taken down, unfortunately, though. So, yeah, they have lost escalators to DRKJS, and all of a sudden, F8 not looking nearly as powerful as what they were a second ago.
Well, that said, they still have 3 minutes where DRKJS has to plant both objectives. Now, looks like DRKJS is going to have an opportunity here. If they're able to clear this out, we got Spookify on the MG. Hardup's about to go down up top here. But, I mean, that said... Oh, okay. We got... Who is this guy? Sykes? Oh, no. Just, like, doing some sort of lemming tactic. Or I could even switch to him. I think he was going to try and go for some sort of a ninja plant. But when you're playing Skyhammer and there's, like, 4 Fate members basically surrounding you, you definitely don't want to do that. And
essentially caught a long spawn, then just about to try and plant the C4 on container B. And that said, DRKJS have taken control of the balcony. They are getting flanked from behind by Hardup. Hardup does get taken down. There was no medic with him, so you'd be asking where that medic was. That medic came in up afterwards. And is he going to be able to take him out? We don't know. Codes gets battered in the face.
I do have to say that Yes is actually really solid aim. The times that I've switched to him, his aim is definitely on point as the Skyhammer, the secondary damage dealer. And it was him who got cut out twice earlier, but that said, we're going to be looking at a big clean wipe here for DRKJS. They could probably even get a double plant, although Fate is getting a fast respawn here. It's going to be
still a
up
minute
to
left.
Cinchi
1 bomb
plant
planted, 2 bombs planted. And it's it's close, guys. It's close. DRKJS may actually be able to pull this out of the bag and force it to go to a third map.
Going to be falling from Spookify. Now it looks like he's going to be going for the first defuse, and DRKJS getting almost cleanly wiped. Yeah, he's probably going to get both, as a matter of fact.
It's looking extremely likely. There we go. The second one is defused. There's now 30 seconds where DRKJS needs to get the bomb planted on both in that time. So
yeah, unfortunately, it was just the how close the spawn time was for Fate. They got the instant respawn, and it caught DRKJS off guard. DRKJS trying to fall back to cover B container, but you know, all the grenades flying from Fate just completely wiped them out, and Spookify's able to sweep in for the
that said, there's still enough time. There's not enough time. There's 5 seconds. He can plant both. No, he can't. There you go. It goes down. There's not enough time to plant these C4s anymore. So F8 are going to take it over DRKJS.
Yeah, with a decisive 2-0. Really solid performance by Fate, though. I mean,
it's funny. Like it's a decisive a 2-0 at the same time as being really close matches. These matches were by no means stomps. Like there was great plays coming out from both teams, and they've done themselves proud. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I mean, like we've talked about previously as well, a lot of these close games usually just come down to when the bomb is planted in terms of the spawn timer overall, because obviously if they got that double plant and it was right at the beginning of a long spawn for Fate, like if Fate was all out on a long spawn, then they would have already burned at least 20 seconds off the plant. They would have been able to get set up and everything. It's just the unfortunate timing for DRKJS that they got that dual plant at the worst possible time, got caught out of position just as the fragger was finishing the slow plant, and Fate was able to retake and get that dual defuse almost instantly. So definitely close games in the least, but Fate just coming out on top, 2-0 against DRKJS. So congratulations to Fate.
Yep.